Welcome back, everybody, to episode 1 of season 2 of the Player to Player podcast. I'm Kirk.
I'm Luke.
And today we've got some news to go over. We missed you guys. It's been
a while.
It's been a minute. I think the last episode we did was Christmas, almost a year ago.
Yep.
So,
New set.
yeah, we got a new set. We got new set. We have a producer too.
New producer.
Say hi, Hagen.
Hey.
Wave at the camera. Yeah, that's Hagen. He's our producer. He's going to be talking sometimes, but mostly producing. If you guys have ever seen Willy Wonka, he's sort of like Oompa Loompa. Right,
Thank
Hagen?
you. I like to be yes. Yeah, sure.
Cool. Yeah. He gets a little skittish on podcasts, so especially when you put him on camera, he gets so nervous, you know.
I mean, we're famous.
Yeah, well, you and I are used to it.
It's hard for him to
Totally.
survive in the shine of our life.
For sure. Okay, well, first up, I don't have my phone because I'm using it to put Hagen's face on everything. Do you have Notion up? What's our first news topic?
Let's pull. Do you have Notion on your computer?
I didn't download it, no.
Wow.
But it
okay,
should.
well, let's pull up Notion on my phone.
It's
Cool.
going great, guys.
Yeah, so far so good. We're super prepared. We have lots to talk about today, so we just want to stall, do like a good little intro, make sure everything's working, maybe cut all of this out later, but maybe not. We'll see.
Cue the music.
Okay, so the first topic up for discussion today, we actually heard just a few days ago about the SAG strikes we know have been going on for a crazy amount of time.
In the movie industry?
Movie industry.
That's like the Actors Guild.
Yes, there's the
Well,
Writers,
the Writers
Guild.
Guild just ended.
The Writers Guild just ended. The Actors Guild is still going on, but then they also just authorized the ability to strike for video game companies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
writers, actors, anybody who's creating stories or anything like that.
So the moment they were able to, they just went for it.
They haven't, that I have heard yet. They
Oh,
have
okay.
not actually gone on strike. They authorized the ability
Gotcha.
to, and it was a 98.3% vote in favor of the ability to go on strike for such things.
That's interesting because what I know of the video game industry, other than crunch and like specific instances like Activision Blizzard and what was the other one? Riot, I think. Other than like those very specific instances of like bad work environments, I think the industry as a whole treats their actors and writers really well. So
it makes sense that they would vote for the ability to do it.
Totally, but I don't think they'll use it right away at least,
but also
because I know that their premiums they're pretty happy with.
Right. Well, and when the union strikes, the whole union strikes.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
Like it'll be curious. I'll be curious to see when a strike happens.
How does that work? Do they have to have like a board decide we're all striking, or
Well, they vote on it.
like
They voted on the
like
ability
every
to go on
single
strike.
actor, or
I think so.
just,
It
like,
might be a
representatives?
little more
interesting.
complicated than that.
There's-
but-
I don't
there's
really understand
eligible
unions.
voters. I'm reading right now. I don't know a ton about it either, but what I'm reading right now is that there are eligible voters.
Gotcha.
and those
They're
people
So,
vote
like,
to go on
representatives.
strike.
so
Yeah.
just for this video game company that we're talking about specifically, not the company itself, but just this idea that they can strike these companies. There were over 34,000 ballots cast, and that only represents 27.5% of all SAG eligible voters.
Interesting.
But that all of those voters made up 98% in favor.
Sure.
So it is interesting. I wonder even if of the SAG representatives that can vote, I don't know who that is exactly. I wonder if the other percentage didn't even know about it potentially, or didn't care to.
Well, I'm
vote,
sure they
or,
knew about it, right? Like,
you know.
Yeah, there's got to be like a
if there,
newsletter.
yeah, I was
that
gonna
goes
say
out,
if there's
you know?
an eligible voters, yeah. Okay, well, interesting. I again, I would assume that they're not gonna do that unless something.
The biggest reason for like the writer strike and the actor strike always comes down to pay. So
Yeah, totally.
like,
And again, like I said, as far what I know of actors in the video game industry, they're very happy with their compensation.
If there is something that they're not happy with in terms of compensation, then
well, it's not like they don't strike right away though. Like they negotiate first, right?
Yeah, but those typically lead to a strike.
Sure.
Like in the actors and writers situation, honestly, the Writers Guild strike, I kind of with them. The amount that some of those people get paid.
I think most people are. I think people who are against the writer's strike really don't understand,
Right.
and I think just have like a thing against unions in general.
Yeah, it had a lot to do with TV show writers. There are some TV show writers
I think so,
that
yeah.
write on these 7, 8, 9 season long shows.
Yeah.
That get paid like nothing.
Well, I know. Specifically the Marvel writers, and like the CGI people. I know that's
Yeah.
not involved in the strike, but the graphics artists and things that are they're like severely underpaid, and it's like notorious.
Right.
And I think that's why you're seeing like the CGI in those movies like go down so bad. But that's
because
we're not a
there's
movie
studios
podcast.
that are refusing to work with Marvel because of their deadlines.
Yeah. So
But yeah.
cool. So next up on the docket, we have Xbox leaks. So this is
crazy.
This is wild. If you can maybe get like the highlights of what's from the leak, Hagen, awesome.
We got a lot of Bethesda leaks too.
Cool.
Which I understand Xbox owns Bethesda.
Yeah, I
but
think
they still operate.
Well, I
as
think it was all
separate
part of
entities.
the big Xbox leak.
Right.
So let's see. First on there we have ads. Lots of ads.
Lots of ads. Hey, let's first talk about the console because that's I think the biggest piece.
Yeah. So the console
neat.
is a Xbox Series X refresh.
Yep.
It's not like a Pro or anything like that. Normally, a lot of times they'll do a mid-gen refresh, and until the PS4 and Xbox One generation, they didn't do mid-gen refreshes that were more powerful. Most of the time, what they do is they'll do one that's sleeker, that's at least the same power, will reduce features, will make it smaller, whatever. They had like the Wii, the disc one that's like the Wii Mini, it's called.
Yep.
They had like, even back in the NES days, they did this. They had the smaller NES. They've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I think people are seeing this and expecting that it's going to be an Xbox Series X Pro, and it's definitely not. It's not any more powerful. In fact, it has less features.
Doesn't it have more storage?
No, it's got 1 terabyte still.
No,
It's
it does
2.
have more storage.
Oh, it does?
It is double. Yeah.
Oh,
it's 2
okay.
terabytes.
So it's 2 terabytes, but what they're taking out of it is the disk drive, because this thing is a cylindrical system.
It looks super cool.
I hate it.
Really?
Yeah. I thought the Xbox was really cool. This is
I like
ugly.
it.
It's
I like
super
it a
ugly.
lot.
This looks even more like a router than the PS5. I don't know. It just the black. It's not even a box. Xbox. This is an X cylinder.
If I can speak into it, I think I agree with you. It looks nice.
Yeah.
I hate it. In the same way I love my
I agree.
PlayStation 5, I hate putting that console sideways.
Yeah.
But it's the only
Sure.
You
Yeah,
put
I
this
mean,
on its side and it literally rolls. That would be hilarious.
I mean, cables would be plugged in the back of it and hold on to it.
I would
Yeah.
hope that they make a stand. It could look really cool on its side.
Maybe.
Yeah. Except for the Xbox logo would be sideways. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. There could be a cool stand for it. I would just like to point out all Xbox consoles, none of them are boxes. They're all rectangles. So
No, a box doesn't have to be.
you're so right. I don't know why that happened.
It's not the X square.
Okay, so
X
the
cube.
cylinder,
Anyways.
the X cylinder.
Yeah, I think this is concerning mostly because of the lack of the disk drive, because if this is a refresh, what that means is it's going to replace the current system. And what that means is Xbox will have all digital systems, no physical media at all.
I'm ready for it.
And I think that means they're going to stop making discs completely. And I get that you're ready for it. I also recently switched over to all digital on my Switch because it's so convenient. But there's a couple of issues with that. One, like we recently saw the Wii U and the 3DS eShops closed. And there are actually hundreds of games that are no longer available because of that. And people who have bought those games and downloaded them have them, but other than that, they're gone.
Yeah.
Well, and let's mention our new set. Like that exists only because of the physicality, and I think that those consoles have lasted such a long time because we hold them for hours.
Yeah, we have the physical media.
We stick the N64 cartridge in, and it's like there's such a tactile experience that you don't get with digital.
Which is, I mean, the tactile is nice and everything. I will admit that's the part that feels outdated, though. And that's the thing that's nice to move away from is getting up and switching out the disc and putting in a new cartridge or whatever. When you're out with your Switch, it sucks to not have all your games with you. So I will admit that the convenience factor is big enough, but to get rid of it altogether, I think is just concerning because here's what they're going to be able to do. You can never share games again unless you do game share, and that's only with one person. I can't just let you borrow a game.
Right.
You're not going to be able to control updates in any capacity because it's just coming straight from Microsoft and they're going to update it and there's nothing you can do about that.
I mean, unless you're not connected to the internet.
Yeah, but it won't let you start the game unless you're connected to the internet oftentimes. So you have to be always online, especially after they push an update. They're going to say you can't start this without the update. And another issue with that is you can't buy them from third parties anymore. You will only be able to buy it from Microsoft, and that means $70, period. Like, unless they put it on sale, which does happen, but
Microsoft is good about their
they're
sales
good
too.
about sales, but when it comes to online digital storefronts that are only so Steam, for example, we love Steam. I love the way that Steam operates. Because of their revenue share and the way they work with third parties, it's really great. And they have sales constantly, and they do a really good job with that. Microsoft is a first-party game producer, though, and Valve isn't really. Like, they've made a few games. Microsoft pumps out games. And so they're going to charge top dollar for their games.
And their extreme acquisitions, which we should also switch over to talk about their conversation about acquiring Nintendo back in 2020.
Well, so yeah, let's move into that in a second. I want to with this last topic though, it's going to incentivize Game Pass more than ever because their games are going to be on their store. The only way to get Microsoft games is from them unless they put them on Steam, right?
Have we seen a Game Pass family plan yet?
Not yet.
That the two biggest things I want out of Game Pass at this point is a family plan and a.
But do you see what I mean? Like, you're already like, oh, well, that's fine. Like,
right, yeah.
And
no,
I think that's part of the issue is like it's gonna keep pushing Game Pass. They're gonna be able to raise the price of Game Pass, and even if it's $30 a month, you're like, well, I get like there's a $70 game that comes out every 2-3 months from Microsoft. I mean, so I want to be on Game Pass. I know, but I'm just saying we're not gonna own anything, and maybe that's fine. But for a lot of people, I think it's gonna be sort of a big deal.
I do see what you're saying. It basically just moves video games into what streaming services are.
Yeah. And I think that's
the only problem with
mostly a problem
is that there's how many streaming services are
other than it's really convenient. There's a ton.
But on Xbox, it's I guess there's technically EA Play,
but that's included in Game Pass Ultimate.
But you get it with but you can do EA Play by itself.
Yeah, you can also do uBisoft.
So,
do you know what that's called? uBisoft Plus.
We might start to see more of those services, and the unfortunate thing about that is, like Game Pass gets you EA Play, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But if somebody decides they're not going to put any of their games on Game Pass anymore, and they're going to do their own service, then it's going to be $10 to play all the Ubisoft games. And now it's $16 for Game Pass and $10 for Ubisoft and $15 for.
And it just sucks that we're not going to own this stuff anymore because we can't just download it whenever we want. You know, we're going to have to use Game Pass. And I don't know. I think mostly is an issue.
My last thing on this is I do think I'm less concerned about Xbox being fully digital as opposed to like Nintendo. Especially at this point in.
Well, it's all the same, and because it's the same industry, it's going to push them towards that.
I'm less concerned about Nintendo going all digital because Nintendo's prices of their games have remained fairly steady since the dawn of Nintendo. They haven't gone deep discounts for most of their first-party games.
So
they've stayed consistent. Therefore, as long as I have access to the game.
Right, but so that's what I'm trying to say. That's where my concern with Nintendo is, because they've shut down multiple.
Nintendo's terrible at leaving legacy content available.
Xbox, however,
is really good at it, but one of the best ways that it's available right now is through backwards compatibility.
Yes,
if you have the disc.
There is a large amount of original Xbox games that you can get digitally from Microsoft. And there's like 10 or 15, which I know that is nothing in comparison to the catalog. But they are also on Game Pass.
But you have to buy them again. Unless they're on Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
So again, do you see how it's all incentivizing Game Pass?
Yeah, of course, which makes sense. Like that's what the company's going to
I know, I'm just saying it just sucks to watch them consolidate so hard on Game Pass because they were doing so good until this. And this isn't official. It's a leak. It is an official leak. Like these are plans that they had in this is loaded up, but this is from 2020. So this is like 3 years old. So a lot of the games that they had listed like to release have already come out.
Yeah.
Some things haven't been announced yet, and we don't know if they'll be pushed or whatever, but they had Starfield as coming out last fall, and obviously that didn't happen. So
I think my biggest concern with that console, beyond just the digital, is the price point because they're removing an expensive piece of hardware and keeping the price the same.
Staying the same. But the 2 terabytes is nice. I think that's worth it.
I am a PlayStation fanboy, so I have an issue with any time like I think Sony did such a great job at just adding the M.2 drive capability in their PlayStation 5. Like that was insane.
Kind of, but
they definitely didn't do a good job because it wasn't even available for the first year of the PS5's release.
That's not strictly true. Companies had those M.2 drives available at launch.
No, the support wasn't available.
They weren't. Yeah, that is true. But I also have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Everybody was struggling with their console launches around that time. Everybody was trying to rush it to market because it got delayed.
But I can also just go buy a 10 terabyte hard drive and plug it into the back of my Xbox.
And you always can do that.
I can't play the games off of it with a new one, but I can.
No, you can. You absolutely can.
Not with the new ones.
Yeah. Oh, not the new games.
Right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you can play games off of it, just not the Series X.
Just to be able to have the third party. This is my issue. It's the third party versus first party thing. Xbox makes the Seagate expansion packs. That
right. No, but I can buy any hard drive.
Right, but not to play games off of directly. Like I can't load the huge Starfield file onto an external, plug it in, and play it, unless it's that $200 expansion or whatever.
I'm not positive about that.
I am.
Okay. But the fact that you can use a USB-A port to keep games on.
If anything, just to store them. But
yeah, you're right. The proprietary SSD.
I don't like that.
That sucks.
That's
what
I'm getting at.
It is faster, but it's not like consumer friendly. So I agree with that. The M.2 is a little bit more tricky, I think, for the average person to install.
Yeah, that's relatively true, but you would assume that somebody who needs that much storage for games, that much more storage for
I feel like
games
everybody needs that much storage.
would be able to
Call of
do
Duty's
that.
like 100 gigs.
And they made videos on how to do it. Like, it's
That's
pretty
true.
straightforward. I had taken my plates off my PlayStation before, and I've done that kind of stuff.
True.
I went on and watched the video, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I know what I'm doing. It was easy.
Yeah, if you can use a screwdriver.
The nice thing was I was able to buy an off-brand one. I think it was a 2 terabyte for like $90. It was.
Yeah.
I was like, that was stupid easy for getting. Now I have, 2.8 whatever terabytes in my PlayStation. That's amazing. Like, and you can't do that on Xbox. You have to you have to get their proprietary thing.
Yeah, and it's like, super expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I was able to go to another brand.
So because of that, the 2 terabytes is welcome.
It is welcome. Yeah. It is welcome, definitely.
I do want to mention, actually, even harping on them for all of the physical stuff, there were rumors about there being an external drive that you could buy. It wouldn't be included, but you could buy it, so you could use your old games.
It would be nice if it was cylindrical that like snapped into the
just
bottom.
tops on. That'd be cool, actually.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be cool.
Like how the Game Boy player goes on the bottom of the GameCube, like if it has a little port and you can just.
And then the disc just like sits in the center of the console. Like, that'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
Can we just talk a little bit? Because obviously there's also a Series S refresh. I don't think anybody is wanting to hear more about that because they can go online and look that up too. But the controller.
Like we got that. Did we not?
We got the Series S refresh already.
Did we already?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's the black one, the carbon black. So the black carbon Series S came out recently, and it's 1 terabyte of storage, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's still, I think it's still $300, right? $299.
No, it's
or is it's $350? Yeah.
I did not hear about that.
And it comes with a carbon black controller. It's actually a different black than the Series X. It's really nice. Yeah, that's come out already.
What I want to talk about, that's cool, and I need to do my own research on that because I had no idea. I literally just bought my Series S, like, what was it, maybe 8 months ago that I bought that?
Yeah.
My first Xbox, by the way, other than somebody's used Xbox 360, as like I wanted to play one game, and then I was like, this is stupid, I'm done with this. The controller. One of my biggest beefs...
The controller's sweet.
One of my biggest beefs about Xbox since its origin is they're just clunky controllers. I know people love them, but this most recent controller feels so cheap. It feels cheaper than the Joy-Cons. And the Joy-Cons are so little and cheapy feeling.
I wouldn't go that far.
I love the controller.
I really like the controller.
Hold the PS5 controller for a year and a half, 2 years, and then hold the Xbox controller. It feels like it should be a $30 Amazon controller.
The PS5 controller does have better features than the Xbox controller.
I'm not even talking about just the features. Remove the features.
It
feels so premium. The plastic feels nice. The buttons feel really great.
It does feel good.
The triggers are amazing.
Yeah.
The joysticks are awesome. The Xbox, everything feels so clunky and just so fakey. Like it felt like a PowerA controller. I don't like the PowerA controllers.
Yes,
like
you do. You literally bought one for the Switch and you said you loved it.
Because they're $20.
I'm
not going to spend $50 on them.
Yeah, like $50, right?
So
yeah,
the new
I feel like
Let's
that's
talk
great
about the new ones.
for the Series X ones or this one?
Yeah, because they're saying that the buttons feel better, they're quieter.
Oh,
they're
these new ones.
Haptics. They're more premium. We don't have a price point that I know of, but this new.
Well, so this is shipping with the Series X refresh.
Yes.
Which is huge, and it's feature packed. So it's got the haptic feedback that the Joy-Cons and the DualSense have had for a while. It's got a really weird two-tone look that I hope they don't go with.
It so much.
Because it's a glossy white on a controller, and I thought we decided like 10 years ago that was a bad idea. Like that's terrible. But the buttons are upgraded. I think they're using aluminum for the D-pad, and the triggers as well. So yeah, the controller looks a lot better. It's still using their proprietary Xbox Connect feature, whatever that's called. It's like not Bluetooth. It's like 2.4 hertz.
Mm-hmm.
It works well. I think
it works
nice.
super well, and they use Bluetooth to be able to connect to other things.
They're also doing rechargeable battery.
Yeah, it's a rechargeable and replaceable battery. So you can still use AA's, and you can recharge and replace
But this one comes with
that
from
it
my
comes with. Yeah.
It will come with a rechargeable and replaceable.
And
back.
it's supposed to be USB-C. So, yeah, controller looks awesome.
Happy about this. As a warm welcome for me as like newer into the Microsoft, family.
Totally. And I'm guessing it'll be $80. I'm not expecting it to be pro controller level because they have their Elite controller already.
I would hope 70. I think 80 would be a little steep because the PlayStation, I believe, is 70.
Something like
right
that.
to me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is about that. There was a conversation about the Nintendo. I think this was conjecture. I don't think that it was a real. We should acquire Nintendo. But
well,
if you guys want to speak to that.
So yeah, let's talk about that. So back in 2020, when this leaked, there was an email leaked from Phil Spencer to another guy in one of their departments, and it was sent at like 1:30 in the morning, and it was called Random Thought, and it wasn't capitalized or anything. It's like the most casual email I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it said essentially like, what if we acquired Nintendo? Like, I think it would be really good for Nintendo. It'd be good for us. And they haven't realized yet that their future is off of their platform. And that's kind of like the pitch of his thing. I agree. I think it also was just a pipe dream, basically.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's no way they would acquire
I don't
Nintendo.
think they were even seriously considering
the
it.
amount of or not necessarily backlash, but the amount of like bumps in the road to acquire Activision Blizzard, like no way would they get Nintendo.
Well, you just mean because of FTC regulations and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Because even if you say Sony's the biggest, Nintendo and Xbox are 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Like 2 and 3 together is bigger than 1.
Totally.
Like,
I don't know if it would pass FTC, but I don't think that's like their biggest concern. They would obviously try, and then if it didn't work out.
I also don't.
Also included in this email was talking about acquiring ZeniMax and I want to say EA or somebody like that.
I wish they'd acquire EA.
I don't remember. But they did end up acquiring ZeniMax. So it was like somewhat of a realistic conversation, but I think they've been pushing for acquisitions, obviously, pretty much since 2020, and we see that with the ZeniMax acquisition. With they acquired Rare back in the day, obviously getting Bethesda, and then Activision Blizzard, which is supposed to close in October. By the way,
it's crazy. It's been so up and down. I've seen some of like the biggest hits to companies and the biggest like mountains that this company has climbed to acquire Activision Blizzard.
It's been a long year.
So up and down.
It's been a long year, but on acquiring Activision Blizzard. Yeah, mostly a good thing, I think. Activision Blizzard was gonna fold without them, so I think like the IPs and all of that, I think it'll be good for them to be somewhere where they can be healthy. And that'll be good for games in general. I think for the most part, the Activision Blizzard games will be available on other platforms as long as they're willing to play ball. They signed a deal with Nintendo that says Call of Duty will be on Nintendo platforms for the next 10 years once the acquisition happens.
Yep.
I don't know if that'll be mainline games or anything.
And I believe Sony signed the deal too.
I do not remember hearing that.
They did.
Really?
That was the agreement that Sony came to with them.
Well, Sony pushed back on it at first because
Sony pushed back on it like 3 times.
Right,
so this is huge. I didn't hear about this.
Trying to prevent the purchase.
Yeah.
And
now that it's
Sony
going
signing
through,
the deal was huge.
Yeah, that is huge.
That was a
How did I miss that?
So the FTC basically all the issues originally got ironed out, and then the whole thing was supposed to close and be done, and then FTC reopened it as a I don't remember what the term is, but they came back and were like, no, we have some more. It's all like jargon, like legal.
Yeah,
jargon.
there's a whole bunch of stuff happening with it, and it's getting to the point where if it's gonna happen, it will happen in October. So I think October, like it's supposed to close like October 18th or something like that, very specifically. So it did pass the most recent check. And so they're in the final stages basically. And if it's going to go through, it will close by October.
What's been really interesting about the acquisition is how many countries they've had to go through, because Europe like flipped out about this, and they were really concerned about cloud gaming. So Xbox sold all the rights to cloud gaming. They were like, okay, we're not, like, if you're going to be concerned about cloud gaming, like, here, somebody else buy it.
Yeah.
And they just sold the rights to the cloud gaming. So it's been really interesting to see. It's been interesting to see what Microsoft is fine with letting go of and what they don't want to let go of. I think overall it's going to be just a good thing for gaming.
I think so too.
I think Game Pass is going to make all of those games more attainable. I think Call of Duty is going to be day one on Game Pass.
So that's an interesting thing. I heard a conversation from a developer recently, not that works at Microsoft, but just who knows about Game Pass. And he was talking about how, like, people were saying, oh, all those games are going to be available day one on Game Pass as soon as this deal goes through. And it turns out you can't just put a game on Game Pass. You have to kind of port it to Game Pass. Like, it requires a little bit of work. And Phil Spencer said the same thing. Basically that I'm assuming there will be a solid like 5 to 10 games that launch day one once this deal goes through.
What I meant is all future Call of Duties will be available.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
From now on, all of those things will be added through Game Pass. And like you're saying, day one launches of new Call of Duty games going to be on Game Pass.
Yeah,
and
I don't think
that's going to be
the
Call of Duty on Game Pass day one will be so massive. That's one of the biggest shakeups in gaming that probably has ever happened. Like, that is so huge.
I think it's really easy to look at, especially as somebody who would rather play this content on PlayStation, because that's just like where I always go to first. It's easy to go, oh, I'm nervous about that. Like, I don't want to lose, because I play Call of Duty, even though it's not like, you know, I'm not prestiging 6 times. And
you see how
like,
embarrassed he was to say that?
I
play Call of Duty.
I do play it.
Ah.
I usually wait until it's on sale, and then I'm like, oh, $30, I'll play it until I have my fill and I'm done. I won't play it if it's on Xbox. It's not as easy for me to.
You have an Xbox with Game Pass now.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just different.
Download.
I would so much rather play it on my PlayStation controller in 4K. Because I'm on Series S, so it's lower quality. I don't get the ray tracing like PlayStation has. It looks worse.
It should run at 60 frames
worse. Though. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It doesn't look a lot worse. I just saw a comparison for Starfield. I had to really look to tell the difference.
I'm also really bummed that Starfield is locked at 30 frames.
Dude, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
Point is,
I could rant about. I thought about making a video on Starfield.
It's easy to get worried about that type of thing. Like, okay, what happens with Activision now? Especially for those who only own a PlayStation or only own, whatever. I think what's exciting is that it's going to shake up, like you said, it's going to shake up the whole industry. I think we're going to see other titles come into the forefront of first-person shooters in that category.
Sure.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like Medal of Honor or a similar game return and actually make a bigger rise.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree more. I think Call of Duty is going to be bigger than it ever has been because of Game Pass.
I think what we're going to see
and the fact that it's going to continue to be on PlayStation means, of course, it's not going anywhere.
Years, yeah.
Sure, but they'll re-up. Like,
I think what we're going to see more of is we're going to start to see more of PlayStations and Xboxes in the same household, because the Bethesda fans,
the whole reason they made the Series S,
right, exactly. Or especially teenagers, instead of asking mom and dad to buy me a new $70 game every 3 months, I just need this console.
That's
for my
exactly
birthday
what I
and
was
then this
thinking.
Subscription. I think we're going to start to see a lot more PlayStation and Xbox in the same household.
Oh, and I'm
because
proof
of Game
that.
Pass.
Like you guys know, as long as you've known me, I hated Xbox. But then when there was I think I spent $250 on my Series S.
Yeah.
Like when that was an option, I was like, this can be
feels like such
now.
a steal to get a whole console for that you get Game Pass and you instantly have access to 300 games. It's the best deal in gaming.
New, like I'm playing Starfield, like brand new titles that are like AAA titles.
Yep.
Day one. for free.
Yeah.
It is insane. So yeah, I mean, it's really cool.
Pretty wild.
Well, that is just about it. I know we could talk so much more about the news.
I could talk about Xbox
There's
forever.
a lot more.
There's so much going on with them.
But for now, that's about it. I know that we just had the Meta Connect.
Yeah, so that happened yesterday. They had a live in-person event, something they haven't done in years. And it was kind of fun to watch Zuckerberg be awkward on stage. I'm not gonna lie, he was a little endearing yesterday. Normally he's very like stiff and like awkward.
They upgraded his AI protocols.
Yeah. He was still awkward yesterday, but he was just cute. I don't know how else to say it. He was like, I'm just so excited about all this stuff. So they talked about a lot of things, but the thing I think we want to highlight is Quest 3. Quest 3 got a release date officially. Do you have that up somewhere?
Yeah, it was October somethingth, and I pulled it down. I was on this section, and I started looking somewhere else.
We get the Quest 3
Yeah, Quest 3 comes out this next month.
Dang.
Yeah, so it's coming out. He said August on stage, so I was like, oh my gosh, that's so far away. But the thing behind him said October, so it's October something. If
is that what it looks like? Wait, scroll back up.
Control F. Yeah, so that's what it looks like. You haven't seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen anything.
So it also has
the hand straps.
It has a dock for the headset and for the controllers.
Well, an additional $130 for that charging dock.
Okay, I thought it was included. That's a bummer. Yeah, $130 for the charging dock. That sucks. But
we'll get a third-party one.
Yeah, the third-party accessories for the Quest 2 are incredible. So I'm sure they will be for this. What's cool too is they also launched with, you get to pick what color your strap and etc. The thing that goes on your head.
Oh, that's cool.
It comes in orange and blue or white. So you get to pick.
That's neat.
Yeah. It is better than the Quest 2 in pretty much every way. Obviously, most of this stuff has been announced already. Really, all they really did yesterday was talk about October 10th is when it comes out. They talked about we already knew it was $500. Already knew it was better in all these ways. It's smaller. The weight is distributed better. The pancake lenses are the ones that they used in the Pro last year. So the resolution bump is about 30%, which is, I think, huge. The battery life is better. They said at least twice during the presentation yesterday, there's no battery pack you have to put in your pocket, to contrast themselves with Apple. Yeah, $500. It's more expensive than the 2 by quite a bit, but I think for what it is, it's the first commercial mixed reality headset. They made sure to say that a lot yesterday.
I see.
And the pass-through is full color, and it's object aware. So it'll be able to sense your couch and your table and all that stuff. You never have to set up a manual guide again. What's that?
Those have been some beta features on the Quest 2.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You don't have to set up a manual guide ever again. And there will be apps that will interact with your mixed reality.
Right.
So remember that game you like called BOGO?
Yeah.
They killed that officially. It's dead now.
Yeah.
Can't play it.
Tried to install it.
But they have a game kind of like that has a little monster, and he'll like hide behind your couch. You have to go look for him and stuff like that. You'll also be able to like hang paintings on your wall and like interactive things. You can put Instagram on your wall and like leave it kind of around your house. All kinds of stuff like
Jokingly,
that. It looks really cool.
Yesterday, my father-in-law currently lives in our downstairs. He's got like a whole separate living, and he was saying, because he only has 2 daylight windows, one in his living room and one in his bedroom, so he doesn't have anything in his kitchen or anything, so he's like, and it's a daylight basement, so he, even then, like when he's looking outside, it's like under our porch. So he's like, this winter I need some like light or something. So he was he was like, I really want your help, like installing like some cameras out to the backyard or something, and then putting a TV. And I was like, you should just get the MetaQuest.
Just get the MetaQuest.
Because then we can just like set it up so that you can just always wear that downstairs and have like big giant windows in your house.
One of the really cool things that it does is it has those kind of big windows that you can do that as you pass through it, it'll look like an actual window as you walk by it and stuff.
Cool.
They also talked about their Stranger Things game, and that's going to use mixed reality to like open a portal to the Upside Down that you can walk through into.
This all
the Upside Down.
sounds really good.
It looks really good.
But I need to
Yeah, totally.
use it.
They've
and I
also
need to see
updated
it.
the hand tracking. And so now there will be you'll be able to interact with things as if they were a touchscreen. So it'll tell where your hand is, and you can scroll through things like it's a touchscreen.
Yeah, I've had a lot of trouble with hand tracking personally. I don't love it because even touchscreens,
they've made it a
have-
lot better.
You have feedback, you know.
That's true. There's no feedback, but I think the better it gets, the closer to that it'll be. And then once they introduce haptic like controls and things, they'll be able to do that. So the other thing they talked about hardware wise that I thought was really cool is these new mixed reality Ray-Bans. So they had the smart Ray-Bans from before where you could make videos and take pictures and stuff. But one thing that was surprisingly lacking is you couldn't live stream from them, which is kind of weird. But now you can live stream from them. They've upgraded the lenses. They've upgraded the camera. They've upgraded the features extensively, the speakers, the mic, all that stuff. It's all a lot better now. And they have AR and AI in them. So a feature that's not available at launch but will be, I think, sometime next year is you'll be able to ask your Meta AI, how long does this chicken need to be cooked? How much is this thing that I'm looking at? What is this landmark that I'm looking at? Different things like that. And you'll have access to standard AI. So you'll be able to say, take a picture, take a video, switch to my phone, send a text, things like that. And it'll all have like essentially a good version of Siri that they're launching. So that looks really cool too. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Kinect.
Well, should we move to our next segment?
Yeah. What do we got next, Hagen?
Okay, next and final segment, eShop, iShop, and uShop.
We're bringing it back. eShop, iShop, uShop are our favorite segment from the old podcast. Well, the old podcast from season 1. And everything feels new again, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's a fan favorite too, because we're the biggest fans of our podcast.
That's sad. Come on. No, we have fans of our podcast and they like this segment and they're not us and they asked us to bring it back. So we bought games in a circle. I bought Luke a game and Luke bought Hagen a game and Hagen bought me a game. But what actually happened was I bought Hagen a game, Hagen bought Luke a game, Luke bought me a game. And then Luke picked one I've played already. Luke's not very good at this segment.
Everything. No. He's played everything.
I have played a lot of games.
I have almost never asked you about a Switch game that you either didn't know about or haven't played before.
Yeah, that's because I pay attention. So, anyways.
No, because you're not that way with Xbox
Luke,
or PlayStation.
We're on a podcast. Be professional. The theme of this eShop, iShop, uShop is autumn, fall, and Luke hated that theme, but that's okay, because
I just wanted Halloween.
I'm the player 2 in the player to player podcast.
Okay, guys, come on.
So while Hagen pulls the first one up,
it's ready to go.
Click them, bring them up.
Kirk, this is the one that you bought for what? How are we doing it now? You bought it for.
I bought it for Luke.
Okay, here we go.
So it's called Fall of Porcupine. Let's watch the trailer.
It's pretty.
It's super pretty. I wasn't sure if it's the same developers of the game that you picked. It kind of looks like it, but I think maybe it's not. Isn't it gorgeous?
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like pretty substantial. Like I think you would be able to play this for a while if you enjoy it. But it's all like fall and seasons, and it looks like it goes into winter too. But it's a cozy little game where you have a ton of different mini games.
Ooh.
And it gets a little creepy. So yeah, I thought you specifically, when I picked this game, would like it.
Cool. Looks fun.
So yeah, I know you don't like to watch trailers, so we can move
Yeah.
on. But I think you will. I think you'll like it. So are we saying we're gonna complete the game? Are we gonna try to do that, or are we just gonna do like a first impressions? Let's see how much we can play.
Let's see how it goes.
Let's try to complete it, if we can, and if not, we'll do our impressions on it. But our goal was $20, and this one's $13.39 because it's on sale. So make sure to get that soon before it goes out of sale. But
so should we pass it off to?
yeah. So Luke, go ahead.
Luke. So yours was the last one, correct?
Yeah, that's the one that we're doing for you. It's called Night in the Woods.
And the trailer's right there, like it should be.
Yeah.
For the record, I really liked this game. For the most part.
Looks awesome.
Yeah, I really like the art style.
Yeah, it's very similar art style. Actually.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it does kinda
It's not
feel-
quite the same, but
But it's
like looking at it now,
got that similar vibe.
this is a surprisingly substantial game too. From what I've played, it's also got different mini games and things.
It's very fall based. It seems like there's a little bit of just creepiness to it in general. You know, the music that's playing right now. Some of the
There is a little bit of creepiness. For the most part, it's pretty cozy, and it's very I don't know if I would say moody. I guess it is moody. It's very angsty, actually. The main character's a punk. Wow, I didn't get to that part. I didn't actually finish it. I got most of the way through, but it's fun. There's platforming, there's mini games. It's a lot of dialogue, but the story's nice. So I think you'll like it.
Yeah, that looks really fun.
I know I introduced your game, sorry, but I've
all
played it
good.
before. So
yeah, you knew more about it than I did. So
I haven't played any of the games that we've all picked.
I haven't played the other two. I guess I
that
don't
looks
know which
cool.
one you picked for me.
The game that I picked, I actually picked a game, and then I realized that it had some. It was a mature game, and I didn't know exactly what.
It's not what we're
content
going
was
for here,
going to
Hagen.
be in. It was 2D like
Yeah,
side scroller.
sure.
You know, I was like, it can't be that bad, but I was like, I should pivot. I had a backup, so the game I picked is called Pinstripe.
Oh, that looks creepy as heck.
It looks really interesting. Let's watch a trailer.
It's giving me Tim Burton vibes.
I originally picked this for Luke.
Okay, I'm scared. Oh yeah, Luke would have loved this. Too bad Luke picked a game I've played before.
I need a list of games you've played before. If we do
All
this
of
segment
them.
again.
If it's on the eShop, I've played it.
Exactly.
Dragged into Hell. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna have nightmares this week. This also is the same type of game, kind of, with a
Yeah.
different art style.
And
I feel like we
wanted
did
to
a great
say
job.
that earlier, I wanted to say that earlier, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to spoil it either.
Right. Except mine's a lot more scary and has guns and Pinstripe. Interesting.
That looks
It looks
neat.
cool. I think I'll like it. It looks more winter themed than autumn themed.
Yeah,
but
I was going more
That is
for
scary.
you know, last
Yeah.
week when we were talking about it, Luke wanted a Halloween theme.
Yeah.
So that was
So you
like
picked
I
him
was
a Halloween
picking for
game.
Luke. I was gonna pick something a little bit more spooky.
Fair enough.
That was kind of what I was going for. I think I accomplished that, but it is now for Kirk. So sorry if I give you night terrors.
it's all good.
There was also one called Nightmare Boy, but it had really bad reviews. That was originally the first pick, but it had like a 4 point something out of 10, and I was like, no.
I found a ghost themed, fall themed Paper Mario knockoff but it was a little over budget and it didn't have
Ghost
the best
themed?
reviews. Yeah,
What was it
every
called?
character is a ghost in it. I don't remember what it was called.
That sounds cool.
It was neat, but it was over budget and it didn't have the best reviews.
Will you send it to me anyway?
Sure.
I'll play Pinstripe this week for sure, and I'll try to complete it if I have time. But
I think I might even pick it up for myself because when I was looking into it, I was like, wow,
that's
really
I mean,
good.
that's the idea, right? Is that we'll pick up the games, kind of see what we like, and then hopefully like Fall of Porcupine looks. I might like that. So, and I really did like Night in the Woods. So I hope you like that. Cool. Well, that'll be fun. We'll talk. We'll play them this week. Try to complete them, and then we'll come back and talk about them next week. But yeah, if you guys want to play them with us, that you're welcome to do that. If you want to wait for our reviews, go ahead and do that. Luke's game is on sale right now though, so you might want to cop that while you have a chance. But yeah, if you guys do play them, we'd love to hear what you think. Leave a comment down below, and we'll read those next week. We'll do a comment of the week every week if we have the comments to do it with. But yeah, I think that's the last segment we had planned. I also would like to talk about what we've been playing real quick, if you guys want to do that. Luke, what have you been playing lately?
What have I been playing?
What have you played last?
The last game I played was Disc Golf Valley on my phone, which actually is a lot of fun.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Tell us about it.
It's a free frisbee golf game.
Okay.
And the mechanics are actually really good, and they are constantly updating it and adding new courses to it. There's like maybe 15 courses on it or something like
wow,
that.
That's
you can also
cool.
play with friends. There's a daily challenge you can do. You
Nice.
can do online tournaments. It's actually, as far as free mobile games go, it's one of the best ones.
Is
I've
it
ever
like a
found.
side scroller or is it?
No, it's like a
Isometric?
first person.
Oh,
And you throw and it moves you up, and then you can also forehand and you
That's
can putt
cool.
and you can throw rollers. It's made by a disc golf company.
Oh,
So
That's
like,
awesome.
Their mechanics are very good when it comes to how frisbees should
That's cool.
fly and things like that.
they should have a motion one where you hold your phone and go like.
It is actually a lot of
It's
fun.
made by Apple.
The
right.
last non-mobile game I played, I've been playing a lot of Warzone.
I was gonna say, the best frisbee golf game I've played, maybe the only frisbee golf game I've played, is in Rec Room. Have you played that?
Yeah, it sucks.
Oh, I really enjoy that.
It doesn't feel natural.
No,
at
of course
all,
not. It's a
and-
VR game.
But VR games should feel natural.
Yeah, most of the time they
Reality.
don't, though, right? Like
Virtual reality.
the Walkabout
Like
game.
Walkabout feels super natural.
Okay, talk about Walkabout.
Walkabout. We've talked about Walkabout.
We've talked about it before. We did a
Uh,
video on Patreon playing it.
You've played it?
I have played it. I also watched you guys play it.
Yeah. So
It's so fun.
I logged in the other day, and they've added like 6 courses. And
So
they've-
how many
they've
do
teased
they
2
have
or
now?
3
Like
coming.
10 or 15?
Yeah, it's around
It's quite
there.
a lot.
There's a bunch of them.
And
so,
they are gorgeous.
yeah,
the-
all of them are super cool.
It's a pretty low poly art style, but
Yeah.
just the way that they do it and the particle
They've
effects, it is a
been-
really pretty game.
They've been like collabing with other IPs, and a few of them
Oh, like
are
what?
like one of them is like an Atlantis
That's cool.
course. Yeah, they're really neat.
Okay.
I bought them all, and yeah, we need to play them all.
I would love to. Cool. Hagen, what have you been playing?
Well, Kirk, hold your booze for later. I've been playing Starfield.
Boo.
I'm actually,
That game sucks.
I think 35 hours in. Here's the thing. I know that it's got mixed
Be
reviews. I understand
That it's
people's
bad.
frustrations. I've heard
Totally.
a lot of the things that Kirk feels about it is how a lot of people feel about it. Here,
And you agree with me for the most part.
I do agree that it takes a long time to find out how to play it, and I will give the jeers where due. I don't think that they did a good job at introducing you into this massive world that is, once you get the hang of it and once you learn all of it,
Massive
it is insane. It is actually
that's how I feel
very
about Skyrim.
insane
Like,
how big it actually is.
Yeah, but it's so disconnected. It would be like if every area in Skyrim was like separated by 3 or 4 load screens. It's just so
And
disjointed.
I agree. I do agree that they could have shrunk it and done less. There I have my jeers. I absolutely do. But once you get some of the story hooks that are honestly, unfortunately,
not part of the main
story. Once you start getting that, once you start shipbuilding, I haven't even touched the
base building.
Yes, thank you. The base building, there's a term for it, and I can't remember what they call it, but I haven't even touched that yet. But once you start doing the shipbuilding, some of the weapon upgrading, like some of the exploring, even I didn't realize this literally until about 20 hours into the game. Again, a jeers to it, understandably. It's a bummer that I didn't learn this until so far into the game. But about 20 hours into the game, I realized that you can just pick a point in a planet at any point of the planet, and it will generate a base, a thing that you can do on that world that is the equivalent of a dungeon in Skyrim. It's big. Like you go through and pick up loot and kill enemies.
I mean, there's
it's
definitely no lack of content. I think the presentation is the majority of what I have an issue with.
And I agree. Once you can get past that, it becomes such a fun game. It is unfortunate that is the barrier.
It's a big hurdle.
The barrier to entry is way too tall.
Yeah.
But once you can climb that barrier,
I think
amazing.
My issue is that, but on top of that, Bethesda games already had so much of that, like with all the stats and like the encumbered feature, and just they're kind of outdated and they're kind of clunky, and I wish that they would modernize them, streamline them a little bit more. But I do acknowledge there's good stuff in Starfield. For the most part, I'm just not a fan.
Understandable, but that's what I've been playing, and I really love it.
Good. So I've been playing recently a game called Spiritfarer. Have you guys heard of that? So it's an indie game. It's $30 on the eShop, and the point of the game is you are the Spiritfarer who is helping spirits kind of move on from essentially like a purgatory type place to the afterlife, and you do that by helping them get over kind of things that they're still holding on to or whatever. But it's essentially a management sim, and you have a big boat that you kind of like keep building on, and you have their houses, and you have resources that you harvest, and you have all of these kinds of things. You go fishing, you can cook, you can turn your resources into different forms. Like you get like wool, and then you make wool thread, and then you make wool fabric, and you need all these different things to make all these different things. But the story is really cute. I really like the interactions with the characters. The gameplay's fun. It's mostly platforming, and it's almost Metroidvania-esque in a very small sense of like how you progress through the game. You have to go to these different islands and find resources and abilities and upgrades that you get for your ship and for your character, and it's really fun. All of the characters have the ones you bring on your boat all serve a purpose. They help you learn how to get new resources and things like that. And it's a really cozy game. I really like the vibes of it, and I really like the story and just the whole idea of like helping these spirits move on to the afterlife. It's just a really nice. It's very sad. But it's like a happy, sad, I guess melancholy is more what it is. But cool. Yeah, I really like it. So that's what I've been playing lately. So yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys have been playing. If you have any thoughts on the games that we've been playing, let us know about that. Give them a shot, pick them up, tell us what you think of them. Any questions you guys have about things we've talked about on the podcast or something you'd like us to bring up maybe next week, let us know. We're going to be doing episode 2, not next Thursday, but the week after. So we're doing a bi-weekly podcast now.
Yep.
I keep saying next week, but it's going to be 2 weeks from now. And hopefully because of that, we can do it for longer and do it a little bit better than we did last time. And once we get rolling, we might switch to weekly, but not really sure yet. So
we've got a lot of ideas in store, a lot of stuff we want to do, but we're taking it slow so that we can not kill ourselves.
Because we all have jobs.
And then that leads me to my last thing, which is something we need to do every single time we record, which is if you have not done this already, please rate on the podcast services. Spotify now has a rate feature, but I know Apple Podcasts is the best place to rate us, and that's where we will get ranked up. As well as if you are watching this as a video, please subscribe, please comment, like the video. We know a lot of you guys are just friends and family that are watching right now, so please do us a favor and comment, even if it's just, hey, way to go, or that totally sucked. Comments, no matter what
comments
they are
drive
better
engagement.
than nothing. And that will help us to just be seen so that we can keep pumping out content.
Yeah, so please rate, please watch, please comment, please listen. If you're on Spotify, we do have a video version normally on Spotify, but it's also on YouTube. Our podcast should be available everywhere that you get your podcast, Stitcher, Radio, Cast, whatever. It's all over the place. But mostly Spotify and Apple are our biggest platforms. So, yeah, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.